Hello everyone, I'm Fozzie, or Cam, and I'm here as always with my co-host Will. How are you doing today, Will?
Doing great, Cam. I'm just so excited for this episode. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, and like you said, I am also extremely excited for this episode, because we're going to be talking about Ahsoka, which we've talked about before on the podcast, but, well, this is one of my, this is awesome. This is a fantastic show.
It's
But
elite Star Wars.
agreed. But we'll get into that later in the episode. We're going to talk about NFL Week 1. We'll talk about the new trailer for the new Wes Anderson movie the new Wes Anderson short film called The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar. We're going to talk about the Counting Crows concert that Will went to. Since we've both seen the Counting Crows now, we'll be able to compare our experiences, share our thoughts, and I want to hear what Will has to say. Um, I saw that movie, Talk to Me. We discussed a while back on the podcast, so we'll talk about that a little bit. Will's gonna go over I Am Groot. I have not had a chance. Well, so let me rephrase this. I don't plan on watching this ever, simply because it's a waste of my time and. It takes place in the past. I don't really care about that in the MCU right now, so I don't think I'll bother watching it. If Will tells me anything major happens, then I guess I'll check it out. But I don't think I'll be missing that much skipping out on it. Maybe I'll just watch a recap. Who knows? And then if we have time, we'll talk about some music. And Will's also going to go over the Jurassic Park re-release that he saw in theaters the other day. Um, so yeah, let's just start off right off the bat with I Am Groot. Will, what were your thoughts with I Am Groot season 2?
It's for very young kids. It's for a very young audience. I think people our age and older are going to find it what are going to find it how you find it not very necessary. As I said, the way I described season 1 and it's exactly how I'll describe season 2. Fun but unnecessary. I really think these are shorts that are designed for very young kids. And I think it's Marvel's way of trying to get very young kids to watch their content. But for me, the reason I'm not interested in it that much and why I call it fun but unnecessary is because if there are going to be shorts about Groot in a whole series about Groot, like I want to learn something like really fascinating about his backstory. Like I want his backstory to be interesting.
Totally.
And through these shorts, I don't feel like I've learned anything new about him at all. So that's why I call them fun but unnecessary, and also why I say that I believe they are for a very young audience, and people like us just aren't gonna enjoy them as much. So my overall reaction to sum all of that up into a quick phrase, my reaction to season 2 exactly the same as season 1, fun but completely unnecessary.
Yeah, so when I was looking at IMDb the other day, I was just looking at the cast list because maybe there'd be any cameos or something. But I saw Bradley Cooper as Rocket was there, and Jeffrey Wright as the Watcher was also there. Did those two characters have any interesting scenes? Did they bring anything to the
Uh,
show?
Rocket, you just hear his voice for a second
Okay.
in, I believe, episode 3. The only episode I think you would be interested in is the final episode of season 2 because the Watcher is prominently featured in that episode. So that's the only episode that I think you would like out of the season 2 ones.
All right, and the episodes are like still like 5 minutes, correct?
Yeah, they're
All right.
extremely short.
All right, so maybe I'll only watch that episode because that's all that I really care about. And the funny thing is, I just wanted to mention this real quick, with Rocket only having one voice line, not even technically even appearing in the show, like you're saying. Imagine how much Bradley Cooper got paid for that, for just
I
saying
was
a quick
thinking, yeah,
line. I mean,
I was thinking about that. Like, yeah, like I really was thinking, what must have Bradley Cooper thought of that? Like, did he enjoy doing this, or did he consider it a waste of time?
well, like he probably made some money, and he
Right.
probably has so much respect for this franchise because it's helped his career so much. Not saying he was a small actor before he got Guardians of the Galaxy, but now a whole new group of people know who Bradley Cooper is because of Guardians of the Galaxy and his voice
Yeah.
work as Rocket. So yeah, maybe he did it out of respect, maybe for money. Who knows? I mean, I guess the same question could be asked about Vin Diesel, because all he's saying is "I am Groot." um, but yeah, cool to hear. Might have to check out the last episode of the show. But aside from that, I don't think I'll watch anything else. Next on the list here is NFL Week 1. Um, right off the bat, Aaron Rodgers. That sucks. I mean, that's just too bad. Right before the game, I saw he was doing an interview. He was on a new team, excited to start the new season, next phase of his career. 75 seconds in, out for the season. Uh, that's that's awful. I mean, what was your take on it, Will?
Yeah. I mean, I am not like I have not been an Aaron Rodgers fan in the last 2 years.
Same, yeah.
At first, when he wanted out of Green Bay, I was like, "Oh, all power to Aaron Rodgers." They draft Jordan Love. He has every right to feel disrespected. But then when he got COVID and the whole thing came out with him saying he got vaccinated, but he actually hadn't. From then on, I have just completely lost all respect for him, and I still don't have respect for him. I mean, I know that people were impressed with his behavior in training camp because the Jets were on Hard Knocks this year, but there are cameras in the building there, so you've kind of got to be careful in those situations. So even though I am not a fan of Aaron Rodgers as a person right now, of course, I do not wish injury on anybody on
Especially that
anybody.
early in the
And
season.
yes, exactly. And the Jets could like of all the great storylines that this NFL season was going to offer, this was going to be one of the most intriguing storylines. Aaron
Yeah.
Rodgers' first season with the Jets, this was going to be such an intriguing and exciting storyline for NFL fans to follow and see how it panned out. So for it to end that early is devastating. And this is a bit of a hot take, but I'm going to say it because of his age, I think Aaron Rodgers should consider retiring. Does he really want to go through an entire rehab just to get back out onto the field and play for a little bit longer and then retire? I know that he doesn't want to go out this way, but if I were him, I would legitimately consider if I want to rehab just to get back out on the field and play for, say, like a quick 1 or 2 more seasons and then retire. I think he should legitimately consider if he wants to hang it up right now.
Yeah, that's a respectable take. I feel like that's not that hot of a take. I can see that. I don't. These NFL players, especially ones like Aaron Rodgers, their egos are too big, I feel like, to go out like this. So I could kind of see it going both ways. Maybe more in the favor of him staying for at least one more year just to prove himself and end with a bang, you know. Um, but yeah, I guess I could see it going both ways. But our Patriots started off the game first quarter.
Yeah.
How do I put this? Horrible. And then we got better as it went on.
Yeah.
Hunter Henry, I was really impressed. I mean, he dropped that pass towards the end, but I mean, he did all that stuff for us during the game. He made one pretty big mistake. I feel like that shouldn't overshine all the good he did that game. Um, but yeah, what was your take on the Pats?
It sucks to lose, but this is a loss that I can accept. This is
Yeah,
not
they're
the
good.
Patriots are going to have a very good defense this year. Everybody knows that.
I drafted him for fantasy.
That's awesome. I feel like that was talked about plentiful heading into the season. We know they're going to have a very good defense this year, but look, this is not the Patriots of years past. And
Yeah.
as a Patriots fan, I am resetting my expectations now as to what success looks like for me. And I know you want to win every game as a fan, and it sucks to lose, but a 5 point loss to the reigning NFC champions, Philadelphia Eagles, that's acceptable to me in this new era of Patriots football.
Yeah, I totally agree. And like we said before, Patriots fans got to move on. No more Tom Brady. And did you have a chance to watch Tom Brady come out during halftime?
I did. I watched the whole thing. I'm just so glad. Like I thought Robert Kraft put it great when in his speech when he said that when Tom Brady left the Patriots, like there wasn't a chance for them to for the fans to properly say goodbye to him. So I just thought that I just thought the whole halftime ceremony was great. I thought Robert Kraft's speech was great. I thought Tom Brady's speech was great. I love how Tom Brady said that he's a Patriot for life.
Yes.
I loved seeing the crowd's reaction to Tom Brady. It was just a moment that I felt Tom Brady had beyond earned, and I love what Robert Kraft is doing. Gonna induct him into the Patriots Hall of Fame next year, have it be held at Gillette Stadium. I just loved the whole thing, and Tom Brady deserved it beyond explanation. And yeah, I just think that was a moment that had to happen, and I think it met all expectations.
Yeah. Let me know if you also kind of felt like this. There was a small part of me that thought he was going to get booed when he came out there.
I like I can see why you think that, but let me say this. Even if people even if there were some people who had booed him, this is just my opinion, but I would have found that soft personally. This guy won 6 Super Bowls for
Yeah.
you, delivered the best years of your Patriots fandom, and when he left, the Patriots were clearly planning for life without him. He had no receivers practically in his final season, and he had been taking less money for years. So when this guy delivered you 6 Super Bowls of the best years of your Patriots' life and then left when the team was, in my opinion, clearly planning for life without him, I just would have found that a weak move on the part of Pats fans. Now, look, if when Kevin Durant plays the Warriors on opening night at Chase Center this year, shockingly, this is the first time that Kevin Durant will be playing in front of Warriors fans because COVID and
Yeah.
injuries of his have held it back from happening in the past. Kevin Durant, to me, it's different. Yes, as a fan, I am always appreciative for what he did when he was with the Warriors and delivering us 2 titles and 2 finals MVPs, but I did not like the way he acted in his final season. I thought he was moody in his final season with the Golden State Warriors. And look, even though I would not boo Kevin Durant, if I was in the audience at that Warriors game, I would understand if Warriors fans gave him a softer applause instead of a raucous applause. In the case of Kevin Durant, when he's only been with the Warriors for 3 years, I would be more accepting if Warriors fans didn't want to give him this raucous ovation. But for Tom Brady, who delivered you 6 Super Bowls and, in my opinion, had every right to leave when he did, I just would have found that incredibly weak if Pats fans had decided to do that. I felt like that to me would have been really weak. Why would you boo the guy who delivered you the best years of your Patriots fandom? That would have been my take if that
I
if that
agree.
had
If I was there, I definitely wouldn't have booed him. I mean, he's Tom, like you said, he's Tom Brady. He's the reason for all this, pretty much. I mean, so you gotta respect that. Even if you are mad at him for leaving, or anything that he's done, you just have to respect the guy and thank him for what he's done for our team.
Tell me about you, Cam. Not everybody may feel this way, but I believe that you can think 2 things at once. I believe that 2 things can happen at once. Case in point, I believe you can be mad at Tom Brady for leaving while still being appreciative of what he did for you while he was there. Just like with Kevin Durant, even though I do not cheer for him or support him anymore, I am always thankful for what he did while he was here and delivering us two titles and winning two finals MVPs for us. So I believe two things can happen at once. I believe you can be mad at a player for leaving while also being appreciative of what they did while they were there with your team.
Yeah, definitely. I see what you mean. And I just think there's some Patriots fans out there who might need to learn that, you know? Alright, but moving on next on the list here, we have the Jurassic Park re-release. Will, how was it? Seeing in
Fantastic.
the big screen, yeah.
Oh, and in all time great big screen experience. I'm so happy that it was re-released in 3D because obviously 3D didn't exist when it originally released. So this to me was just the dream movie to have re-released in 3D. It was an all-time great big screen experience, and I've said this before and I'll say it again. Were the visuals great? Absolutely. But
Timeless.
to me, what elevates the visuals is if the characters are interesting as well. And are the characters interesting in this film? Absolutely. Jurassic Park, great blockbuster. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. When you say about the great effects, you know, but it
Yep.
also needs to have great characters, it's kind of what I feel like with Avatar. Great
See,
effects, weaker
right.
characters.
See, I disagree because I am interested in the Avatar characters. For me, what I would point to is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I thought that movie had some of the best visuals in all of the MCU, but I don't think about those visuals because the characters did not leave a lasting mark to
Except
me.
for
So,
Kang. Except for Kang.
except for Kang and Bill Murray, but
Yeah.
everybody else did not leave a lasting impact to me. So Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is something I would point to for great visuals, but not great characters. And I actually feel like both Avatar and Jurassic Park have good characters along with the great visuals.
Yeah. Before we move on to our next subject here, just want to let our audience know that Will and I came out with two new videos last week because we didn't have a chance to do a podcast. We're both kind of busy with school. I mean, we're just kind of back in the swing of things. But yeah, so Will did a video ranking the Star Wars television series, which brings us to our next topic, and I made a video discussing Travis Scott's new album Utopia. Travis Scott, who I will be seeing live December 23rd,
Awesome.
which will be exciting at the TD Garden. Looks awesome. So excited about that. Be excited to talk about that on the podcast. But yeah, let's move on to the topic I'm most excited about today. I am because I have so many positive things to say about this. It's time for Ahsoka. Right off the bat, I just want to get this out of the way. I think Ahsoka. Alright. I think Ahsoka is better than Mandalorian Season 1, Mandalorian Season 2, Mandalorian Season 3, Book of Boba Fett, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Andor, uh, let's see, Season 1 of The Bad Batch, because I haven't watched Season 2. I haven't gotten to watch Tales of the Jedi. And Season 1 of Star Wars Visions is better than that. It's better than all the Star Wars TV shows that I've seen. I think I think it's better than Rise of Skywalker, The Last Jedi. Force Awakens, I think, is fantastic. Better than all the sequel movies, Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith. And I am a fan of Revenge of the Sith. I mean, obviously there is some horrible dialogue, but some of the coolest action scenes in Star Wars, which you have to respect because Star Wars has some awesome action scenes. But I'm not talking about Revenge of the Sith. I'm talking about Ahsoka. This show, Will. This show is fantastic. And I already loved it before the most recent episode, episode 5. But episode 5 just solidified how much I loved this show. The, I never thought I'd see the day. I, I, I never saw. I never thought I'd even see live action Ahsoka until Mandalorian season 2. Never thought that would ever happen. Never until Kenobi. Never thought I'd see Hayden Christensen as Anakin ever again. Never mind him showing up for a full episode in this show, and I'll probably be back again. And he was also a big part of the Kenobi TV show. Would have never expected that. The things this is doing, bringing back the Rebels characters. I cannot wait to see Thrawn and Ezra. My excitement for what's to come with this show is off the charts, and my excitement with what we have is also off the charts. This show is fantastic. All the action scenes just feel like classic Star Wars. It's awesome. I mean, the action scenes, the characters. Ahsoka's such a good character. This show is fantastic, Will. But tell us your
But
thoughts.
yeah, I'm gonna start by saying this. Tell me if you agree with this. I obviously I loved episode I already loved the show episodes 1 through 3, but I'm just going to say a statement and tell me if you agree with this. I think the last two episodes, episodes 4 and 5, are two of the greatest pieces of Star Wars content ever put out.
I I I couldn't agree more. I mean, that's true. And like you said, the first 3 episodes were fantastic. And it was a great way to introduce these Rebels characters. Because some people might not have watched Rebels, so you got to do that, which is totally respectable. We get some time with these characters before we get into these big action scenes. And it's not like we don't have any action in those episodes, like Andor. Um, it spends time with characters like Sabine, so we form a relationship with her, and people who haven't watched Rebels, like my mom, who's watching the show with me, grow a connection with her. Hera gets introduced. Even Jason Syndulla gets introduced. I didn't even know he was gonna be in the show. I thought they were just gonna completely retcon that and take him out. Uh, Chopper. I mean, we got time to spend with these characters. Ahsoka, obviously. Um, but now we're going max speed now. We're full speed ahead. We're reaching the top. I mean, it took its time, which not a bad thing at all. I thought it was fantastic. Took its time, 3 episodes, kind of introducing it, and then now it's just it's just going up. I mean, so yeah, I definitely agree with you, Will. But overall, what are your thoughts on the show right now?
Oh, I'm just loving it. Any Star Wars fan who just for all of the Star Wars fans out there who do not like this show, I'm going to look into the camera right now and ask you, what do you want out of Star Wars content? Give me an answer. I don't know what else you could possibly want. This is just an epic show to me. I already loved it. And then these last two episodes just took it to a whole nother level. And I said I won't completely spoil the episode for the Only Movie show that I did, but when I ranked the 5 live-action Star Wars shows after Ahsoka episode 4, I said that I had it at number 3 behind Obi-Wan Kenobi and The Mandalorian. And even though I said that I didn't think anything would ever surpass The Mandalorian, I said that I could absolutely see Ahsoka moving into my number 2 slot for the live action Star Wars shows. And I have to do that now. It is now officially in my number 2 slot. What more could I ask from it? It's epic. I don't know
It
what
could be
else
a
to say.
movie.
It's epic. Well, that's what And I'm so glad you brought that up. And because it could be a movie, is why I'm so excited they released episode 5 in select theaters
Oh, did
across
they?
the country. Yeah, they did. And I'm so excited that they did that for what you just said. This is just meant for the big screen content. So even though I have much stronger feelings toward recent Star Wars content than you, and the only piece of recent Star Wars content that I actually disliked was Andor, because I just thought that was too slow and confusing. Even though I feel much more strongly about recent Star Wars content than you, I absolutely agree that this is an elite Star Wars show, and I'm officially going on the record now in saying that it is moved into my number 2 slot on my rankings of the 5 live action Star Wars shows. I now have Andor at 5, The Book of Boba Fett at 4, Obi-Wan Kenobi at 3, Ahsoka at 2, and The Mandalorian at 1.
And that's crazy because the show is not even over yet. Imagine the finale. The finale, I would actually consider going to the theater and watching it.
Oh, I would too. Well, listen, if episode 5 had been released in a theater near me, I absolutely would have gone and seen episode 5 in the theater. Absolutely.
Yeah, here's the thing. When I was looking through before the reviews came out for this episode, I was looking at IMDb because that's just what I do a lot. I saw Dave Filoni directed this one, and just know whenever Dave Filoni's like directing and main writer on a project, or Jon Favreau, I guess too for that matter, it's going to be awesome. I mean, Dave Filoni created these characters. I mean, he's going to make something perfect every time. I mean, just look at the credits when it's rolling for Ahsoka. It starts off with directed by what's his name?
Dave Filoni.
Dave Filoni, yeah. Directed by Dave Filoni, written by Dave Filoni, created by Dave Filoni. I mean, this is his show, and I am so impressed by what he's been able to do with this awesome character, and the fight scene with Ahsoka and Vader in Episode 5. Oh my goodness, the flashbacks to the Clone Wars.
We would have gotten the Clone Wars in live action like that. With if whoever would have thought that we would have gotten Anakin and Ahsoka from the Clone Wars in live action? Like
I
a
know.
miracle, a Star Wars dream come true. I mean, what else can I say?
Even Captain Rex was there. It was.
Yeah, it was just incredible.
I
It was
know.
just incredible. I could not be more impressed. I could not be more impressed with this show. It's really blown my mind so far. I mean, that's all I have to say.
Yeah, this gets me so excited for the Ahsoka or Mando Book of Boba Fett movie that will be made if this stupid strike ends. Not that it's stupid what they're striking for. If these producers pay their writers and pay their actors, I mean, if that ends, if the producers finally gain some sense, I mean, then I will officially be able to get excited. But until the strike ends, there's still a chance that it could be canceled. Um, so just crossing my fingers it doesn't. Because I need this movie, Will. I need that
Yeah,
movie. I need Star
and
Wars movies.
and the reason that we're so excited for that movie is the man directing it, Dave Filoni. Tell me if you agree with this. This thought just came to my mind as we were talking about Dave Filoni and what a mastermind he is, because I think this guy is brilliant. What he's done to Star Wars, he and Jon Favreau, I can't thank them enough. But is Dave Filoni the second most important visionary in the world of Star Wars to George Lucas? Because think about it, who has been a better Star Wars visionary like since George Lucas? Who has been a Star Wars visionary?
I
Who
know,
has been a
yeah.
better Star Wars visionary than Dave Filoni? And even even though I have much stronger feelings about the sequels than you, and I appreciate what Ryan Johnson and J.J. Abrams did, like, who has been a better Star Wars visionary post George Lucas than Dave Filoni? I think the guy is brilliant. I think he's a mastermind.
You could. All right, this is my hot take for the episode. All right, so you could make the argument that Dave Filoni has done more for Star Wars than George Lucas.
You could.
Here's the
I,
thing.
I yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Or I was yeah I was just gonna say that you can, like, if you want to make that case, I'm totally okay with it. And let me say this: what I appreciate about Dave Filoni most is that I'm sorry, but some of George Lucas's treatment of some of his female characters, in the case of Carrie Fisher and Natalie Portman, I just don't think is that great. Like, I think in this Dave Filoni era of Star Wars, these female characters like Ahsoka and
Sabine.
Sabine and Hera have just been so much better than the female characters that George Lucas put on screen when he was under control of Star Wars, in my opinion.
I totally agree. Here's my thing with George Lucas. He created Star Wars. That you have to respect.
Yes.
But here's the thing. He definitely had a vision, and Empire Strikes Back, which is widely regarded as the best Star Wars movie. I don't know if I personally agree, but it's definitely top three. That's one of the Star Wars movies of those three he was the least involved with.
Oh, really?
And
Okay.
yes, and then he made Return of the Jedi, which had the Ewoks in it, and I personally don't like Return of the Jedi. I think it's silly. They,
Yeah.
I think Han Solo should have died in Empire Strikes Back.
Okay.
That's, I mean, then he went on. George Lucas went on to make the prequel trilogy, which, imagine if Dave Filoni did that. Like he did the Clone Wars, which I guess kind of counted, but imagine he did the live action uh, prequel series. Look, all right. So just compare Hayden Christensen's acting under direction from George Lucas, and compare it under direction from Dave Filoni. It's
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
totally different actor. He has lines like, "If you're not with me, then you're my enemy," and that's
I blame that on a bad script, though.
I
I
also
blame that
that's
on a bad
George
script,
Lucas's fault. He
personally.
wrote that script, and then we have these awesome lines of Ahsoka. You have two choices: live or die. And I guess George Lucas could have also wrote that line, but he wouldn't have directed him in the same way Dave Filoni did. So, yeah, I think you could definitely make the argument, and I might even make it myself, that Dave Filoni has done more for Star Wars than George Lucas. I might have to actually look that up. I want to hear what other people have to say about this. Um, but yeah, you could
Yeah,
totally make that argument.
you could, and you would not sound crazy at all. And here's one more point that I would like to add to this um conversation. Bill Simmons and crew, when they did the Raiders of the Lost Ark Rewatchables podcast on the Ringer podcast, the Rewatchables, they were talking about how George Lucas was like was one of the visionaries behind Raiders of the Lost Ark, but how he wasn't the actual person who wrote the script. And I thought Bill Simmons and crew made a great point when they said that George Lucas is one of the great visionaries of our lifetime, but he's not one of the great writers of our lifetime.
Yeah.
He can formulate these great ideas, but when he actually, and I actually read an article where George Lucas once admitted this himself, and I want to give him massive credit for being vulnerable and being willing to admit that. But I think the difference, and look, I'm not going to put Dave Filoni over George Lucas just because, like, I could make an argument for them being equal, but I'm never going to put him above George Lucas just because Star Wars would never exist without him, and I feel like I owe George for that. But I feel like one thing that's different between George Lucas and Dave Filoni, to Bill Simmons and his crew's point, is that he is a great visionary and he can come up with these great ideas, but in terms of being able to actually put it on the page and actually creating great dialogue between characters, that's not one of his strong suits. Dave Filoni can come up with these great
He can do it
ideas
all.
and write very good scripts. And that, to me, is a difference between George and Dave. I think George can formulate the great ideas, but struggles putting it onto the page and coming up with great dialogue, where Dave Filoni can come up with these great ideas while also writing very good dialogue for his characters.
George Lucas also makes, I don't know, I don't want to say dumb decisions because he's not dumb, obviously. Just questionable decisions, like re-releasing New Hope, but with some like early 2000s CGI added to it. It was fine as it was, but he added this kind of bad remastered version of it with added scenes with CGI characters walking around. And really, what's the point of that? There's no point. If anything, it
Maybe he
will.
maybe he thought fans would be excited by the updated CGI and stuff in Star Wars. Like maybe he thought fans would be super excited to see that.
That's the thing. Yeah, misguided maybe is the word. Maybe he thinks fans would want things that they don't like. Here's the thing. Here's the thing about his directing. Like here's what Dave Filoni and friends like Jon Favreau and stuff did with Mando. They don't put their actors on a blue screen or a green screen and just have them imagine where they are. Uh, they have this. Granted, the technology wasn't around when George Lucas was doing the prequels, but they did it just fine when they were doing the original trilogy. So there was no need to make his actors act on a blue screen and have to imagine where they were. Dave Filoni and friends have this new device, I guess. It's an LED screen or whatever, and they can see the background, and it looks. You're really gonna have to look it up. Well, it looks fantastic. I don't know if you've seen it before, but they have some things right behind the actors, but after you go beyond that, it's all fake, and the actors can see where they are and they can act in that environment. Whereas in the prequel trilogy, the actors had to pretend, and that clearly affected their performances. Because as we're seeing here, Hayden Christensen's not a bad actor. He was just given a bad script, bad direction. He was forced to act in just a warehouse, essentially, in a studio with blue screen and lights everywhere. Um, so that obviously makes it harder as an actor to share your performance. So, yeah, I definitely think that what Dave Filoni is doing is a lot better than what George Lucas is doing. Um, but yeah, just overall, want to just get across how impressed I am with Ahsoka. All right, now I just wanted to move to our next topic here. You saw Counting Crows live with Dashboard Confessional as the opening act. I've seen them too. You've heard my opinions before. I don't love the Counting Crows like Dashboard Confessional, but Will, the audience wants to hear your take on the Counting Crows concert. Let's hear it.
I thought it was an amazing show. First of all, let me give Dashboard Confessional their props. I thought they were a great opening act. They brought the house down. I thought Dashboard Confessional was just a great opening act. But the Counting Crows were just amazing to me. I just think Adam Duritz is a breathtaking performer to watch on stage. And my list of highlights, I just have so many. So I'm going to name them right here. Adam Duritz introducing Dashboard Confessional. I loved that because when do you see the lead singer of a band come out and introduce the opening act? I haven't seen that happen, so I thought him doing that was super cool. There were certain moments during Mr. Jones, Omaha, Rain King, and Hangin' Around that Adam Duritz let the crowd sing certain lines from those songs. So I thought that was awesome, a way to really interact with the crowd and get them into the material. Um, the performances of Colorblind, Round Here, and Palisades Park, in particular, Colorblind. I thought were stunning. Some of these extended versions of his songs that Adam Duritz does, I'm just absolutely blown away. An acoustic performance, I believe this was a cover song, "Blues Runs the Game," but the acoustic performance of that was fantastic. They played their song Angels of the Silences, and they sprinkled in a little bit of another one of their songs, When I Dream of Michelangelo, in the middle of the performance of Angels of the Silences. So I thought it was really cool how they did that. Adam Duritz was at the piano for, wait for it, a cover of a Taylor Swift song, The One, and a Long December. Yes, Adam Duritz covered Taylor Swift at the show.
Wish I saw that. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I thought yeah, but he was at the piano for the cover of The One by Taylor Swift and A Long December. I loved seeing him at the piano for that. Um, uh, they brought Dashboard Confessional back out during the encore, and they did Dashboard Confessional song "So Long, So Long," and then the Counting Crow song "Hanging Around" with Dashboard Confessional. I loved that. And then when the show was over, the song California Dreamin' came on, which, by the way, featured in the Stranger Things season 4
And in
soundtrack.
the
So
barbershop episode 1.
yes, yes. So shout out to the barbershop and to Stranger Things for that. But when that song came on, after the show, instead of just exiting the stage, Adam Duritz stayed on the stage for a bit when that song came on. So I thought that was really cool. That's not something that you see happen. And what I love about Adam Duritz as a performer is that he just does not sing the songs. He just does not sing songs the same. Every time, I just think he reinterprets them and does them a bit differently. So there were multiple instances when I would see him sing a song a little bit differently or improvise lines from certain songs. So just watching how he would do that was amazing to me. And then also, last on my list, Adam Duritz's love for Dashboard Confessional. He said they were some of the nicest people that he had met, and that it was probably his favorite tour that he's ever been on because he got to spend an entire summer with Dashboard Confessional. And the show also, Adam Duritz said that I believe Adam Duritz grew up in Berkeley, where I saw him, and he said that the Greek theater in Berkeley, where I saw him, he said that's his favorite place to play. His favorite place to play. So there were just so many highlights. I loved the show, and I thought Adam Duritz was just breathtaking to watch. It was just amazing to watch all the little things he was doing for the entire show. So I thought the show was just fantastic, and shout out to Dashboard Confessional. I thought they were a great opening act as well.
Yeah, Dashboard Confessional was definitely one of the highlights of my show, but like I said, I'm not a huge Counting Crows fan. So yeah, that just makes sense for me. But Will, I'm glad you enjoyed the Counting Crows concert. Glad to hear you had so many highlights. The California Dreaming, yes, that was definitely a highlight of mine. I thought that was epic. That was an epic way to walk out of walk out, and yeah, it's cool to see it on the stage. Definitely, yeah. Sounds like an awesome concert. Can you give it a rating out of 10?
I'm going to give it a 10 for this reason. There was nothing more that I could have asked for. I
Yeah.
did not walk out of that show saying, well, actually, well, there's this song of theirs called Come Around off of, I believe, their album from about like either 2012 or 2014. I have been just loving that song recently, and they've been playing it at some of their shows. I just think that song has just an epic revelatory feel to it. So I would have loved to see them play that song. But ultimately, the reason why I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10 is because there's nothing more that I could have asked for from it. I walked away completely satisfied, and that's why I give it a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I really do wish I got to see the Taylor Swift cover. That was awesome.
Yeah.
That reminds me. Have you listened to any more Taylor recently?
I, nothing much besides what I had been listening to, but her acoustic performances of certain songs I've really been enjoying. I don't know if you've seen her Tiny Desk concert, but she does her songs "The Man," "Love Her," "Death by a Thousand Cuts," and "All Too Well" in that Tiny Desk concert, and I think those are amazing performances. So some of her acoustic performances, especially her Tiny Desk concert, I think are just fantastic.
Yeah. And will you be seeing the Everest Tour concert movie when it hits theaters?
I may.
Same,
Do you
yeah.
plan on seeing it?
I'd like to if all the big Swifties don't sell out all the tickets. Yes, I will definitely plan on seeing it. Um, one more thing before we conclude this. Two more things actually. One of them is really quick. I just want to get this out of the way. Talk to Me had a chance to see it. Directed by two former YouTube VFX artists. Um, Raka Raka is what their channel is called. I watched some of their videos before going to see this movie. They're insane, Will. In a good way. They're great. They're really funny. Their videos are just wild. I mean, super entertaining, and they actually kind of brought that to the film as well. I thought it was an intriguing concept. Ending was fantastic. Overall, it was just a great thrill ride. Awesome horror movie. Really liked it. Great way to kick off the horror movie season for me. Um, yeah,
What
definitely
would you give it
recommend
out
it.
of 10?
8 definitely. So I
Eight.
without even thinking, yeah. Can't wait to rewatch it actually and get some more things that I might have missed upon the first viewing. So yeah, love that movie. And final thing before we wrap up this episode, the wonderful story of Henry Sugar.
Yes,
The trailer dropped. Well,
it did.
oh, this looks so good. It looks hilarious. I mean, Benedict Cumberbatch in a Wes Anderson movie, that's a match made in heaven. That's perfect. Ray Fiennes coming back into another Wes Anderson movie, also perfect. I mean, he was great in Grand Budapest Hotel. So yeah, super excited for this. Super excited to see it on Netflix. Um, really cool that it's going there. It's gonna be like 40 minutes long. Coming out September 27th. I don't know if that's
Yeah,
correct.
something
Around that
something
time.
like that. Yeah.
But yeah, super excited for this movie. Um, as I'm a huge Wes Anderson fan, and yeah, what's your take on the trailer?
I thought the trailer had Wes Anderson written all over it. I could have watched that trailer without even knowing that it was directed by Wes Anderson and known that it was Wes Anderson who was directing it. That's how much Wes Anderson's fingerprints were all over that trailer to me. It'll be interesting to see a Wes Anderson project in that format of just 40
Definitely.
minutes. Since we're so used to seeing his movies, I'll be curious to see what I think a shorter project of his looks like. So I'm excited to see it. I'll be curious. My only fear is that I walk out of it having some of the same complaints as Asteroid City with some parts being a bit of what exactly is going on here. So my only fear is that I'll walk away having some of the same complaints that I did with Asteroid City, but still, anything that Wes Anderson does, I'm excited to see, and I thought his fingerprints were all over that trailer. I could have not even known it was directed by him, watched that trailer and said, that's a Wes Anderson
Yeah,
project.
definitely. And believe it or not, they filmed this movie or short film in 2 weeks.
Wow.
That really impressed me. I mean, they must have planned it really well. Um, but yeah, that just about wraps up this episode of the Everything Podcast. Will, thanks for joining me as always. Thanks everyone for watching. And yeah, we'll see you next time. We got a bunch more stuff to cover. Thank you guys so much for watching, and see ya.